In this video, I'll be going over high aura hairstyles for Asian guys. Now, first up, honorable mention is the 2-block haircut. This is the haircut that walked so that everything else on this list could run. The 2-block has been the go-to haircut for myself and pretty much every single Asian guy in the Western hemisphere of the world from the ages of like 16 to 30 for the past 4 or 5 years, and for good reason too. It's a pretty solid haircut, but also everyone and their brothers have it. And so if you're tired of being another drone in the 2-block haircut army, then this video is for you. The first high aura hairstyle in this list is the modern mullet wolf cut. This is essentially a longer variation of the 2-block, except that the hair in the back is longer and more textured. Essentially, there's still the longer layer of hair on top that covers a shorter layer of hair on the sides. Now, this is different from the traditional wolf cut in that the hair on the back is slightly shorter. You see that in the traditional wolf cut, the kind of length of the hair in the back is pretty much the same or even longer than the length of the hair on the top, and this creates a kind of like right angle shape for the haircut. In the modern mullet, the hair in the back is shorter than the width of the hair on top, and so it kind of creates this like sideways L shape, and maintaining this sideways L shape just gives your head a more like masculine and like more handsome look. And so this modern mullet haircut is almost less of a wolf cut and more of a kind of grown out 2-block. This is a very powerful haircut because having slightly longer and wavier and textured hair like this is slightly more feminine of a hairstyle, and when you combine this with kind of masculine facial features like a strong jawline and strong eyebrows and defined cheekbones, the combination of the two just creates this very big contrast and like juxtaposition that just looks really good together. Now, this haircut will look good on pretty much anyone, so it's also a very flexible haircut as well. And you can go with a more middle part variation like this guy, or like Krollo from Hunter x Hunter. And like this dude just looks so tough. Like I feel like this is really all the reason you need to get this haircut, just to look like Krollo. But also if you've been on Instagram or TikTok in the past few months, then you've probably seen the before and after transformations of people posting about like the King Henry method. And most of the time they have some variation of this haircut. And on the topic of this, it's a haircut that many modern looks maxers currently rock, including King Henry, but also these guys. And so this is just a very great OP like meta pick haircut right now. And the really only downside is that 1, you have to kind of grow your hair out to this length in order to have this hairstyle, and 2, you also have to style it regularly in order to get it to look as best as possible. And when you style your hair, that means you gotta like shower and wash out all the products at the end of the day. And because you have longer hair, your wet hair will take a lot longer to dry as well. And so there's just a lot of kind of work that goes into maintaining this haircut. But it's definitely worth putting effort into your looks, so I would recommend this haircut. The next high aura hairstyle on this list is the slick back. Now, if there's any hairstyle that's high aura, it's this hairstyle right here, the slick back. This cut just looks so fucking tough. It just looks so fucking cool. It's also kind of traditionally a more formal hairstyle, and when Asian guys rock it, it does kind of give like an Asian like mafia or like gangster vibe, but like in a good way, and that just like looks tough and it looks cool. And this kind of like mixing and blending of aesthetics and cultures just works so well with this hairstyle for Asian guys. And point is, it's just a very tough looking haircut. Now, in terms of structure, it's pretty similar to a 2-block in that the top is longer and the sides are shorter. And so you could probably rock this hairstyle if you just have like the same hair structure or haircut as a 2-block. Now, in order to achieve this look, especially this like wet slick back look, you do have to style your hair, which is a heartbreak for me as I've been like a wake up and go 2-block enthusiast for the past like 5 years. You definitely need to use some sort of like gel or oil or like just some sort of product in order to kind of get the hair to stay back and get this look, which also means that at the end of the day, you're gonna have to wash the product out of your hair pretty much every single time that you rock this hairstyle. And so this is also another haircut that does require some maintenance and some work put into it in order to kind of achieve this look. But with this haircut, the aura is just so unmatched and you just look so fucking cool that it's definitely worth it. Now, it's worth mentioning at this point that you don't want to be a fat guy with a good haircut. And what I mean by this is you don't want to be the type of guy that doesn't really put work into himself and like doesn't take care of yourself, doesn't take care of your physique or your health, and then you kind of rely on like haircuts as a kind of quick pay-to-win fix in order to improve the way that you look. And if you do this, you'll probably have good looking hair, but the rest of you will still look like fat and just like sloppy, and it's almost like taking the easy way out. In order to actually look high aura with this hairstyle and with pretty much any other hairstyle on this list, you really need to work on improving yourself holistically, improving your physique, taking care of yourself, improving your self-grooming, improving your fashion, and just becoming a more attractive person as a whole. Now, I say this from personal experience because I went from this to this, and in my new program, I actually cover everything that you need and kind of hold your hand step by step in order to make such a big transformation like this, because I'm pretty much just teaching you like lessons from my experiences and what worked for me. So if that's interesting to you, then you'll find more about that in the description below. Now, I will say the only kind of like exception to don't be a fat guy with a good haircut is if you have like the fat Japanese Yakuza boss aesthetic and you're just like muscular and just like big. This is really the only exception where you can be fat and still have high aura. But for 99.99999% of you, I'd recommend just like improving yourself holistically and building a nice lean aesthetic physique. For the next high aura haircut on this list, we're going with the warrior cut. This is a shorter, more masculine haircut that's also quite trendy nowadays, and for a good reason too. Again, with this hair, you have longer hair on the top and shorter hair on the sides, and the whole haircut is just very textured. But unlike the 2-block, there's no kind of distinct disconnect between the top layer of hair and like the side layer of hair. It's kind of a lot more blended in and a lot more natural looking. With this haircut, you still want to maintain this kind of like sideways L look to the shape of your hairstyle and the shape of your head. Because again, this is a very masculine haircut, and this shape will kind of just make the haircut and your head and just like you yourself as a person look better. And as kind of a side tangent, I think it's a lot more trendy and just like better looking nowadays to have kind of softer finishes to your hair and have more natural looking hair, especially on the sides and the back. And so what I mean by this is something that looks like this, as opposed to a very hard like taper or fade. I don't really know why or how to describe it, but it's just a lot more high aura, a lot more natural, and it just looks better. Now, this warrior cut can be seen on Guts from Berserk, as well as Gyome, the goat from Demon Slayer, and so it's very much accurate to its name, a warrior cut. So while the modern mullet and kind of like the 2-block almost have this touch of like pretty boy femininity and having like nice luscious hair, this is definitely a lot more of like a masculine, rugged, and just very handsome haircut. Very suitable for a warrior. And because it's a shorter haircut, it's, as my Asian parents would say, very suitable for keeping cool in the summer. So that covers the warrior cut. The final high aura hairstyle on this list is less of a singular style and more of kind of just like a category or aesthetic. And it's a grown out buzz cut and kind of variations of this haircut as commonly seen in like old school Japanese anime or manga. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about, just look at these pictures. Every single person here just looks tough as fuck, and they all just have this very like effortlessly cool aesthetic, and their haircut kind of like integrates very well with this aesthetic. A lot of these are some variation of the grown out buzz cut, and the haircuts are just a lot less like structured and more like natural looking, in that like this is what your hair would look like if you didn't really get any like intentional haircut and just kind of grew out your hair naturally. This whole aesthetic just looks very cool, and the haircut is definitely just like a part of this. It's almost like vintage Asian hairstyles, kind of like how that what's it called, Wong Kar-wai, I think, is like, it's that like old vintage Asian like cinematic filming style went viral a few years ago. These types of haircuts are like the same vibe, where it's just like old school vintage Asian aesthetics. I personally like it a lot. So that covers the list of high aura hairstyles, but we do have some honorable mentions, the first of which is the mod cut. And the mod cut is pretty trendy nowadays, especially on TikTok and Instagram, and it's essentially just an overgrown and more like natural looking 2-block. The mod cut, the sides and the back are kind of longer and a little bushier and just a lot more natural looking. It's also a little more like blended into the top layer as well. This kind of goes along with the trend of like having less hard finishes like tapers and fades, and just kind of having more like soft and natural finishing touches to your sides and your back, and that it's all just kind of like grown out and natural looking. The next honorable mention is really long, like ancient Chinese man from the Ming Dynasty hair. Like if you just open up any like C-drama about like the ancient times of like, I don't know, the Ming Dynasty or whatever, then you'll probably see most of the dudes rocking this type of hairstyle. And the dude probably also has some like long flowy robes and like a fucking sword or whatever as well. But essentially this aesthetic and this hairstyle is definitely very unique and also quite a cool aesthetic. Like thinking about it now, I probably haven't seen like anyone at all in real life with hair this long with this kind of like hairstyle, and it's just a very cool look. And the reason I bring this hairstyle and this aesthetic up is because I saw an Instagram reel a few days ago where the dude's trying to get in shape and he's like, I'm not gonna cut my hair until I'm satisfied with my physique. And fucking like 3 years goes by and this dude is now like pretty jacked and has a pretty good physique, and now his hair is like almost down to his waist, and he turns his head like in some like montage of like a pool or whatever. But the point is, like, the dude just looks like very tough as fuck, and it's a very unique aesthetic because I literally have not seen a single person in real life rocking this hairstyle. It is more of a feminine look, but again, this hairstyle just like looks very good and is like made for Asian features because like historically Asian dudes did rock this haircut. But like imagine like this guy or like this guy wearing like, I don't know, Rick Owens and like a skull cap or some shit like that, right? Like that'd just be so fucking cool. But again, obviously this probably takes like many years to actually grow your hair out to this length to begin with. But if it's something you're interested in, which I'm genuinely considering actually, then it might be for you. But again, similar to pretty much every single other hairstyle on this list, it's tough as fuck and it just looks cool, and you know, I would know. But yeah, so that's high aura hairstyles for Asian dudes. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. And thanks for your time, thanks for watching, and bye bye.